I guess we'll start by saying thanks everyone for coming this morning. We're gonna kick off things today with Kim, who is going to be talking a little bit about accessing your team and the scorecards that we ourselves have just started using. So Kim is very good at making sure that our team is managed and staying on top of things. So she wanted to take some time to let people know what we're doing here that's working so well.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, so I'm the chief problem solver at 10 Table, and I have the privilege of leading and growing our leadership team and also doing strategic planning. So those are the things that I'm doing. And I would love to share with you guys some stuff that's working for us. So, one of the things we do at the beginning of every year is we ask ourselves a question. And I'm lucky to say and proud to say that on my leadership team, I can say yes. But Brett and I and Mark have been doing this for years, and Brett and I have actually helped a lot of other businesses just to build their business and to scale up and to coach them up. And so usually when we ask this question, we kind of get a lot of gasps from the executive team. But we ask, hey, would you enthusiastically rehire everyone on your team? And if the answer is no, then we kind of work on, hey, what is our plan to get our team where everybody on the team is what we would consider an A player. So we've implemented a couple tools to do that, and we wanted to share with you. And Melissa, I don't know if you can share them in the comments or how to get the two forms we use to everybody, but those are okay to share.
We can post them on Facebook, but I
Okay,
don't
perfect.
think I can put them in the comments.
Okay, perfect. So everything I'm talking about today is based on two books, Scaling Up, which for me is like the best business book. Used to be Rockefeller Habits, now it's Scaling Up. And Brett and I have been using it for about 20 years to build businesses with. So it's amazing. I'm going to share some learnings from this today. And also we're giving away some Scaling Up books today. So Melissa or Colleen will tell you that, how we're going to do that later. And then also top grading. Top grading is another principle that has to do with these talent assessments and job scorecards. And really it's about getting your whole team to a team of A players. And an A player isn't like the best employee that you have to pay, all this money to get. An A player is for what you can afford in that position, the best possible talent with what you can afford in that position that matches your core values. So that's something that we work on, is how to keep our organization top graded. And so we also have some copies of Who. Both of these books are excellent. I prefer Who. So I'm going to be speaking to that. So we're going to give away a couple copies of Who too. And before we get into the actual job scorecard, I wanted to share with you something that's really helped us in interviewing. Two things that have really helped us in interviewing. One is a phone screen. And we do a 3-question phone interview or phone screening to kind of make sure that we have a possible good match. That has weeded out a lot of people, and we can share those 3 questions with you, but just some basic questions more around your core values. And then this is the best tip I have for you today on recruiting your talent, and it's TORC, which is threat of reference check. And I know that people can't really do give references today, but threat of reference check is super powerful. And the way we use that is in the phone screening and in the interview. I tell people, hey, we check references. We're going to be checking your professional references. Bring them with you with the contact person's name and the phone number and the best way to get in touch with them. And after your interview, if we feel we have a good match, we're going to reach out to those references. Just saying that, well, first of all, don't be surprised if a lot of your interviews don't show up, because that happens right away. But also just saying that, it just automatically elevates the quality of the candidates that are coming in. So threat of reference check and phone screening are 2 big tools that have helped us get the talent in the door. So to do the job scorecards and the talent assessment, you have to have your core values for your company set up. And that really is the set of rules that you play by in your business, how you make your decisions. And they are kind of like your immune system. So when you have your core values right, if somebody's not living them, your organization will push them out, kind of like a bad cold, they'll push them out. The better your immunity, the quicker that person will get pushed out. So you want to hire for core values. And we've spent a lot of time on our core values. And it's important that you check them every year, and see, hey, is this who we are? Do we have examples or legends of each of these values? Can we talk about it? And if we don't, it's okay to update it, because as you evolve, you'll be able to describe your core values better. But they will help you in these talent assessments and job scorecards, because if people aren't fitting with the core of your company, the actual foundation of the company, it's going to be hard for you to top grade them and keep them an A player and to keep growing them. And then, these are values you were going to fire for, and you'll see how we use it in our assessment for violating. You're going to promote for them, and you would be willing to take a financial hit if somebody's not living those core values. So if you guys have any questions on like how we came up with them, we did a couple exercises, and then we kind of have an annual review on core values. If you share that in the comments, we can share that information later on. So we implemented 2 tools to help the leadership team. Again, I have a fantastic leadership team, and they're just so open and receptive. So they've embraced these tools. The first one, and this is what we're sharing with you, is a job scorecard. So we are really this year focusing on the concept of coaching for performance. We do a decent job coaching for discipline if we see something wrong, but we really want to embrace, like, how do we lift people up and coach people up? So coaching for performance. So we have the scorecard we're using, and you can see at the bottom, these are Teton Table's core values. These are our 5 core values. So we've incorporated it into our performance scorecard. And what we're looking for is examples of how people are living it out loud. So we list all the core values, and then we're looking for proof of them, and then putting that in the comments. Everything on the scorecard is on a scale from 1 to 10. So this is a fictitious person I have, but maybe it's based on.
Kim, are you sure it's not my scorecard? Because
I was gonna just say
it's pretty rock star.
I was just saying, but this could be based on a real person. This is very close to Melissa. Melissa's scorecard is higher, actually. Yours is higher. So
just so you know, we did post the 2 files.
Okay, good.
So everyone can access them.
All right. This is a fictitious person in customer service who is a keeper. So I always start at the bottom. You can do this any way you want. And I start with the core values. And then a little tip, which you're going to realize this right away. If somebody is solid in core values, but struggling maybe on their responsibilities, you can coach that. If they are not solid on your core values, it's very hard to save them and coach them up to an A player. So you'll find that, though, as soon as you start looking at it this way. So one thing is, always tell our employees how we're keeping score. So at the top of this is our kind of grid. Green is the number I want them to hit. That's a solid A player. But then you have your like A players love to really overachieve. So we have a super green, which is a 10. If you get a 10 on something, that's super green. Yellow is, a cautionary number. It's just an area for coaching, and red is just unacceptable. And we have to do something right away to get that up. You can make the scale whatever you want, whatever red and yellow is. This is just what we use. And then I like to color code it because there's a lot of words on this page. But as an employee and as a leader, I can look at it and I can immediately see the yellows, the areas that I want to focus on for the next 30 days. So we find the color coding really helps a lot. All right, so I start with the core values at the bottom, and I really think about it, and I think about examples of Jane living the core values, and sometimes I'll write the actual examples in there so I can remember them. And then if there's an area where Jane is a yellow, like on being resourceful and risk taking, the comment area is the tip or the training area to focus on the next 30 days to bring that 7 up to an 8. So I don't like my scorecards to have a list of everything they're doing wrong. So I use the comments for what they can do to get to the next level. And that is a much more positive presentation I found with our employees. So I score each of the core values and then I average it. So Jane averaged an 8. And under desired results at the very top, each of these 3 sections, responsibilities, skills, and core values, become my KPI, my key performance indicator at the top. So you can see for core values, she's an 8. And then I kind of go backwards and then I look at, okay, what are the 4 or 5 top things that I need Jane to do in her job? And I list them out as her key responsibilities. I do the exact same thing. I score it on a scale from 1 to 10. And then I put some feedback in there on how to get higher if she's a yellow, or I celebrate if she's a green. So you can see I have awesome on her 9, and on her 50 relationship building activities, she's not quite hitting that. I have an idea to try with her on blocking time throughout her day. And that's just a reminder to me on what I'm going to talk to her about. And then I go, the thing I do last is the skills and traits. And I think of, okay, what skills does Jane need to hit, to be 9s and 10s in her key responsibilities? So in this case, she has to negotiate, manage her time, have really good follow-up. She has to be proficient at our messaging document. And above all, she's really got to be friendly. And then I do the same thing. I score those traits. I go back and color code them so it's really clear to Jane the areas we're working on for the next 30 days. We do scorecards. We are implementing them once a month. And our goal is that nobody on our team is ever surprised at what's expected of them, how we keep score, and where they stand. So we don't ever want to sit down with somebody and have them say, oh my God, I'm so shocked. Like I had no idea, I wasn't doing this, or what are we talking about today? Like we want people to say, yes, I understand that. That's something I've been working on, or I was waiting for this meeting. I knew this meeting was coming, like that kind of scenario. So let them know how you're keeping score and then actually keep score. This is for the employee to see. We share this with our employees. The talent assessment, is for you, the owner or the manager. So I take each of the job scorecards and I plot them onto a talent assessment. Again, these are fictitious people. So the productivity score for me is their key responsibilities. I just take an average of how they're getting their key responsibilities done. And then the core value score is the average of the core values. So you can see Jane is an 8 for productivity and an 8 here for core values. And I just plot it. Jane is a solid A player, right? So I lost my things. Jane is a solid A player. So I need to make sure that I keep training and working with Jane and pushing her and understanding what she needs to thrive and grow. And then you can look down at the rest of my team. I've got MS here, who's an A player, still has some room to get, into this top box. I mean, these are your overachievers here in the top right. I have KC here, who's a B. So when I have people in the B quadrant, I can coach them up to an A. Usually I can coach them up to an A if their core values like match the team's core values. I can also, if they have solid core values but poor performance, I can think, are they in the right seat? Are they in the right seat on my bus? Would they be happier as, a salesperson or in IT? Like, do they have a different skill set? So in the B quadrant, you have a lot of options of coaching. Are they in the right seat? Should I reassign them? Here, this person SK is in the BC thing. So if I look at SK, high productivity, not meshing on core values. So this is a place where it's going to be hard for me to get SK up to an A because they're just not meshing with my core values. There's a lot I can do here. I can replace this person. In this case, I'm going to do an employee improvement plan and tell them exactly the areas that they're lacking in, and see if they maybe aren't sure of their job or their training, and so the core value work isn't coming through. This case, I'm doing a 60-day employee improvement plan, but I could replace at that point. And then if you have a C player, you can see a 4 and a 4. It's very hard to move a C to a B or an A. And so I've made a decision to replace this person. So I've kind of put a 30-day plan together, a performance improvement plan. And either they're going to super surprise me at the end of 30 days and become a B, or we're going to part ways. This is not employee facing. The talent assessment is just for you, the leader, and it plots your whole team so you can kind of see what your focuses are. We just started using them this last quarter, and we feel we're having really good results. So I'm going to stop sharing and let Melissa and Matt come back on. And Melissa is going to share some feedback on, because she is, as you can imagine, one of our star leaders.
Jane Smith.
She's Jane Smith. She is
Jane Smith.
So yeah, so
yeah,
just kind of share some of that.
So and Justin, I know you have questions about like rental stuff, so we will definitely have her answer them. I promise you. Mine,
we're gonna
obviously,
save questions till the end. I'm keeping an eye on a lot of you guys right now that are asking.
Yeah.
My experience again is probably a little bit more office based, but we did all of these with the marketing team this month, and I think what Kim said, and this was my first time, so this is all first timer information. I was nervous going into it, and Kim did give me the advice that nobody should be surprised. And honestly, when I sat down with my team, nobody was surprised, and that was good. What was most helpful was really what she kind of touched on, where like, is that person in the right seat? Are they in the right position? And it helped us a lot to see, like, to sit down with an employee and say, this is where I see you struggling. Can you tell me why? Like, what's the issue? What's going on? And giving them a chance to explain why something wasn't getting done, or something wasn't getting done in the time frame it was supposed to get done in, or whatever was causing the issue. And then I was able to then take what I got from my team and, make appropriate shifts. And maybe that's not a task you should work on. It's not something you're comfortable doing. It's not something you're getting done in time. And so honestly, for the marketing team, the biggest benefit was kind of repositioning people, but also letting them know, like, I see that you're struggling. You see that you're struggling. We should talk about this, as far as why you're not getting stuff done. But then also, we have growth potential. There's tools there. I'm not seeing you just as not getting this thing done or failing. I have this whole chart put together for you. And I'm here today in this meeting to give you the advice that you need to grow and to succeed. And so, it was so much smoother than I expected it to be. There wasn't a lot of negative feedback, even when, we had those difficult conversations where, I had to say to somebody, you're not meeting your goal. You're not living up to the like potential that we have. What do we do? So I thought that, given the hundreds of other coaching opportunities I've had, this was the easiest and smoothest, and really it gave the opportunity for the employee to give feedback as well. So it wasn't just you're not doing it. It was, how do we make this better? And that's a really positive thing, because if they feel like they're not just being criticized, but that we're reaching out to them to say, like, you know, what do you need from us? Like, what can we do to make this better? I think that everyone is looking forward to next month and seeing if they've grown and you know what their new scorecard looks like. I think it was a great opportunity, and the structured part of it, Kim, for me was helpful. You know, because normally we go into coaching and it's a little almost aggressive in a way, and this really helped with that to make it, you know, just a good opportunity for both parties, if you will.
Right. So yeah, thanks, Melissa. And you did a great job on those. I know they were well received. So examples for rental companies, and I'll tell you how we set ours up. Melissa and I, and this is for any business, so we'll actually just talk rental. You got to figure out what are the core areas of your rental company, right? What are your functions in the rental company? So do you have a service function and a setup function and like a warehouse? So you first figure that out, and each area has a scorecard. So the one thing that won't change is your core values on the bottom. Core values will be the same because that's who you are, so that will never change. So as you figure out what the functions of the business are, then you just look at that first function. Maybe it's your setup crew, like your tent crew. And then you figure, what are the 3 to 5 things that I need them to do? What is the core of their job that I need them to be really good at? And that is the top, responsibility part of the scorecard. And what Melissa and I, when we were doing this for marketing, we took the names out of it and named the job like, we named like social media, and because we found ourselves saying, oh, this person, yeah, but okay, but they can do this, but they're not really good at this. And we were doing all this work around. And then we were like, okay, wait, stop. Let's just plan what the business needs. It needs social media, it needs digital marketing, it needs graphics. And then we filled in the players after. So the first thing you'd have to do is, what does that department need? And then what are the core competencies? What does that person have to be really good at? And then if you think about somebody who's really good at setup, what do they have to have as a trait that makes them your best setup person? What are their traits? They're detail oriented, they're hardworking, whatever those are. And then that becomes your scorecard, and it will change by function. If you have somebody answering your phones in service, same thing. What are the 3 to 5 things I need that person to be really good at? And then what kind of person is really good at those things? Those are the traits. So you can do it for any business.
And that was really helpful for us, Kim, because we were having an issue with sometimes things weren't getting done. And when we put that chart together, we realized we had 7 people assigned to the same project. And so no one was doing it. So taking the names off was a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, so I encourage you, think first of what the business needs and then fill the players in after, and you'll see you might have some open seats. So that's good. Was there another question?
Yeah, so there's a question here that Justin asked as well that I think is a good one to address.
Yeah.
So it's asking about what you do when you have a star employee that starts to kind of act out of character, and like how you would confront them outside of them just kind of giving the I'm fine answer to you if something's going wrong.
Yeah, so that is a great question. One thing I'll tell you is, if you can do monthly scorecards with the employees, you'll show the difference in score, and that can't be disputed. They can't say they're fine, because they'll be going from an 8 to a 7 to a 6 in the core values or the traits. But let's say you don't have that yet. I just focus on facts and real observation when I'm coaching. And so if Melissa just like got really squirrely on me, I would definitely, I address stuff right away. I don't let it go. And I tell my team the same. If you see something or something's bothering you, I just took a call this morning, which is why I missed Melissa's huddle. If something's bugging you, I want to know about it right away. And if something is bugging me about what you're doing, I want to tell you right away. So I level set that when employees come on board. We talk about that. But I would talk to Melissa right away, and I would say, hey, I noticed this change. Here's what it used to be, and here's what it is today. What's going on? And then I just listen. I listen, and then I would ask some questions, but I would definitely not let it go. And if they say I'm fine, I would focus on the real example of the change. Melissa, you were getting everything done last week and overachieving in the last 30 days. We have all this great results. This month, you're only getting a third of the things done. This is a big change. We need to talk about what the difference is, what's different from last month. And I would just focus on the actual fact of what the change is, and not the person at all. Yeah, it's okay to be blunt, but you have to try to go into every interaction with an employee as a leader, map it out before you go in, because you don't want to talk about a personal trait. Like, I don't want to say, Melissa, it just seems like you're being lazy. That's like a personal attack, right, on Melissa. So what I want to do is I want to plan my interaction first, and I want to have the task list that Melissa was keeping 30 days ago, and then what's happening today, and just go in with that fact and talk about the thing, but not like a personal trait, and make it, because as soon as I say lazy, I guarantee you Melissa will stop listening to everything that comes after that. She's going to be like, Kim just called me lazy. Oh my God. And she stops listening. So bluntness is good in that it helps you address things right away, and you have good managerial courage. I feel when you're blunt, managerial courage is important to address things, but you also have to tone that down, that you're not addressing it in a personal way. So fire for and never look back. I would fire for things that violate our core values, for sure. But dishonesty is a fire and never look back. And disrespect definitely is, if you're disrespectful to a fellow employee, abusive behavior. So I would say abusive behavior and dishonesty are hard lines for us. Relationship building is really big for us. So, but I know, I tell this story all the time. I have a colleague in my entrepreneurs organization who runs a very successful plumbing company. And he does all commercial plumbing, and he has a single estimator who does all of his jobs. He's been with him for a long time. He hired somebody into the business that he was training, a younger kid. And for some reason, this estimator didn't like him and was kind of researching him and found some stuff about him online that wasn't too flattering. So he printed it and showed it to everybody in the office. And it turned out this kid was in some legal trouble that he was trying to put behind him, and the internet didn't have the whole story behind it. So when my friend found all this out and researched it and got to the bottom of it, and saw what happened, one of his core values is we treat each other like family. He fired his estimator that same day, and that put him back 3 or 4 months. Because what he did to that kid that he had hired is going to be very hard for that kid to come back from in the company. And he never wanted that to happen to anyone else. So he fired him. Those are the right core values. When you're willing to fire your chief estimator, then I think that you've got your core values right. So forgivable things you would fire for, never look back. What are things that are forgivable? Performance issues for me are forgivable. I always ask myself, and Melissa and I and the team talk about this all the time, can I prove that you knew the rules of the game and how I was keeping score? And if I can't prove that, that's on me, the leader. If we don't have a scorecard, for us, scorecards replace job descriptions. But if there's not a good description and you don't really know like who you report to or what you're supposed to do or how I'm keeping score and grading you, that's on me. So, yeah. Oh, I like this, what Andy's saying. Many employees feel underappreciated when it comes to recognition of good work. Yeah. Where do you draw the line at recognition? Yeah, I think that's a really good point. So, and all the surveys, right, are telling us now too that employees really value recognition over pay. Recognition and time are the two big things right now. Like, they value their time and recognition a lot of times over pay. We don't do a lot of awards and trophy work anymore. I think, again, we try to give honest feedback. Um, and we try to call people out. We do a daily huddle and we try to celebrate in every daily huddle and do it that way. One thing I would suggest is you can ask your employees. I've asked our teams like how they want to celebrate or how they want to be recognized. And we do like a lot of little things like Amazon gift cards, some Starbucks gift cards. We do pizza parties. Somebody said we were doing when we were allowed to get together, like a quarterly celebration dinner and doing things like that. But really just noticing, like I found noticing somebody's achievement or hard work does go a long way. And then saying it out loud in a huddle, like a public forum, and celebrating that to others goes a long way too. But we don't do a lot of awards or anything like that. That's a really good point. There's other things we do, like we try to do some fun days. I mean, you might have seen them on Facebook where we did like our hot dog contest and we'll do ice cream days. And
hot dog contest was rigged.
It was
out there. It was rigged.
Just because Chicago didn't win, it's hard to beat a Salen's hot dog. I'm just saying. But anyways, we try to do things like that, and just I think celebrating is a huge, for me at least in our team, it's a huge form of recognition. And I have to tell you too that level setting where you are with your employee, like what the score is and how you keep score, and then sharing that every month, it will do so much for your team because it shows them you have to really pay attention to your team to fill out the scorecard. And then it shows your employee, wow, Melissa she really sees me and she pays attention to what I'm doing. And that says a lot. That says a lot to people. And I can't tell you, I work with a lot of companies all over the country. I can't tell you how many employees I talk to where they have no idea what their leader thinks of them. They have not been reviewed in a year or 2 years, their entire career with a company. They have no idea. And so they're reading in, to comments, or when an email or a bulletin comes out, they think it's about them. So if you could get on a rhythm of a monthly scorecard, it's just huge. You're way ahead of so many businesses growing, in your industry and other industries. So yeah, so this is a great place to start, and we're happy to share our tools and experiences with you as we work through it ourselves. We don't have all the answers, but we definitely have lots of experiences. So, I think that's it. Oh,
you gonna let them pick on me?
Wow, what?
Are you gonna let them pick on me?
What are they saying? I can't read them.
Later.
The boiled hot dogs. I have to say that was better than I thought it was going to be. I enjoyed the hot dog you made. It was really.
It was authentic.
It wasn't Salen's, but it was okay. It was okay. So we're giving out books. How are we doing that? I don't know. I would love to give out a couple scaling up books and a couple who books because I feel they're so valuable. So how do you want to?
Man, I'm so bad at this, Kim. I just always give away everything. I have no filter. It's true. It's like my reputation.
Melissa's first person to comment my hat for the day gets a 500 points.
Really? Well, let me say this then. Let me just say this. So we have scaling up is it's an operating system for your business, and it focuses on people, strategy, execution, and cash. So that's kind of an overall, and who is just focusing on people, recruiting, retaining, scorecards, more what we talked about today. So if you want to do the first, you could either type in scaling up or who in the comments, and then we can award wherever you are in your journey. Are you, working on an area outside of people, you might want scaling up. And if you're working on your team, you might want who. So we could try that.
Yeah.
All right, so scaling up or who, we'd love to send you a copy. See, scaling up is
Scaling up.
my favorite. All right, so Justin gets scaling up.
All right, I better write this down, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My pen isn't working. Oh no.
Yeah. And then if there's other, areas you guys would like to ever talk about in the future or us to share with you, we work in all the areas of scaling up where we do work people, strategy, execution, and cash. So if you'd ever like to roundtable or discuss another area, we use all of the tools. Brett and I and Mark have been using these tools since 2001. Since 2001. So, all right. Any other questions you guys see? I don't think I can.
I actually had one I was gonna
Sure.
ask you, because you mentioned sort of about how like you keep your own scorecard where you talk about the possibility of replacing people. I assume that you want to let them know. How do you bring that up to someone that like they need to do better, but you don't? Because I assume you want to let them know that they need to get their scores up there, but you don't just want to straight up say we're gonna fire you if you don't.
Yeah, when I get to the point where somebody's a C player, they're not really getting a scorecard anymore. They're getting I use two tools. I use a performance improvement plan, which is 30 days. They got 30 days to do these things. It's an actual different form. And it's your job is in jeopardy plan. And they can either correct that or they are absolutely crystal clear at the end of the 30 days. Sometimes you can do 60 days, but we try to do 30. At the end of that time, we're going to part ways if these three things don't happen. Then the other thing I use is an employee improvement plan that's not quite as severe, and I want to retain that person. That's a 60-day. It's an intense, deep dive into a few areas. That's another form. So if I get to the point on my talent assessment where I've got a C, we're doing so much better that we don't really have a lot of C's. But if I got a C or a B/C, I would move away from the scorecard and I would transfer the scorecard into a really detailed deep dive on those forms. That's how I would do it.
Okay. Thank you.
But in the performance improvement in the C category quadrant, the person does have to understand their job is in jeopardy. Because again, we're thinking no surprises, right? So when I sit down and say, we don't have a good match, Jane, Jane tanks it. We don't have a good match, then it should not be a surprise to Jane. Jane should be thinking in her mind, I was wondering when this meeting was going to happen. So, and I have had people say that right out loud to me. Is this the day? I've had people say, is today the day? And I say, yes. And that's it. And we're done. And they say, okay, I'm sorry. And I say, you're great. You're going to do great. And it's termination for us. A separation is never longer than 5 minutes. Never.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. No, good question. Thank you. Okay. Anything else? What do you guys see?
I don't see any more questions. I assume you probably saw, Melissa, that Tom is asking for who.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. You guys are going to love those books. Circle back and let us know what you think. And if you want to talk about, anything in them or you want us to share experiences, definitely circle back because it's just really driven our growth and we feel makes us just makes us a better company. And I have to tell you, I'm sorry, to tell you guys, I have the best leadership team, so you guys can't have them. But I really do have the best leadership team, and it's because they practice and they're always learning and they practice this stuff. So they are awesome. So there, Melissa.
I'm pretty great.
Yeah, so you are. So, all right. Well, thanks, guys. Thank you so much for spending this time with us, and we hope it helped you out. And we're here for you, and we're just so grateful for all of you.
So, Kim, while we have people's attention, Matt, we have a Slater video this afternoon, right?
Yes. Slater's demo video is going to be up around 1 today. He's going to talk a bit in that video. It's about sanitizing. Keeping your equipment and your materials clean, from tent vinyl to basically anything. So you want to keep all of the equipment you're using clean. Whether we're in situations like COVID or even outside of it, it's good to keep your stuff sanitized. So he'll go into depth about that today. That'll be up around 1. And then
he will
we have
be in a Tyvek suit. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I mean, that's worth watching there. Just mark
Yes,
I
it is.
just had an awesome idea for these videos. I think we should start calling them Slater Vision.
Oh,
I like it.
Isn't that good? Like, can we do that? Can we make it say Slater Vision on them?
I think we can.
I like it.
Yeah.
You just film them all in black and white then.
Yeah, I just come up with the
That's great.
ideas. You guys make it happen.
All right. Yeah, we're on it. Oh, and there's something else, right, Matt? I interrupted you. Sorry.
Yes, we have a web content talk coming up later today. I believe that's at 2:30.
Yep.
But our resident blog writer, Matt Terzi, is going to do a presentation about writing blogs, kind of keeping web content up to date, and how you can use that to get people back to your site and sort of use an informative and more like content styled blog and voice to help push business a little bit more and kind of work those two angles. So that's definitely something to check out, and that'll be happening at 2:30 today.
Great.
Matt, that sounded like you were reading it off the back of a book. That was so professional. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Or a napkin.
I'm impressed.
He wrote it out during my
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I gotta say all this. That's good. You guys
all right, so
always do a good job.
is there anything else we want to tell them? I know we are going to be randomly posting some giveaway games, so keep an eye out on our Facebook, and we'll have a blue light special tomorrow, right?
Yes. Yeah, there's one tomorrow.
That's cool.
Exciting. Wow, there's so much going on.
I remember real blue light specials, and my grandmother used to make me run in Kmart with the cart. I was like 6 or 7, and she would be like, you'd have to run, and it would be so crazy. It would be like corn on the cob holders or something like, But I just remember when they would make the announcement, and she would just make me run. So
do you still have the corn on the cob holders?
Probably.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah. So I'm just saying.
Hmm.
So those are, so they're good deals.
Yeah, so really, really good deals.
That's really, we're not revealing what the tent is for tomorrow, but tomorrow's tent is the one that Mark looked at and was so surprised and excited about. So, if Mark's excited about the price on that one, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Honestly, it could have been a mistake I made. So
it might have been.
You never know.
Uh-oh. That's all right. Now I got to go back and look at it again.
Yeah, seriously.
Good job, guys. Right. Thank you.
Thanks for the discussion, Kim.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
All right, everyone, have a good day, and we'll see you in a little bit.
All right, thanks.